everybody? Welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to talk about that Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania trailer, and it looked epic. First of all, the Ant-Man franchise has been one of my favorites in the MCU so far. I love that original Ant-Man movie, and I quite thought the sequel was really good. I didn't think it was quite as good as the original, but I thought the sequel was very good, and it improved on certain aspects, including having Evangeline Lilly actually be the Wasp. But the Ant-Man franchise has been such a unique franchise because while the individual movies are dealing with such small, more intimate stakes, its connectivity with the rest of the MCU is real close. Obviously, the first Ant-Man movie leading to Scott Lang appearing in Civil War. Ant-Man and the Wasp, leading to them introducing the quantum realm and the technology there that would be used in Endgame. And even Ant-Man himself being a very important character and playing a very key, pivotal role in Endgame. So the Ant-Man character, while his character is, his individual stories are a little more low-key, they're still very good, and you love the cast. It has a very fun style to it. Very because Paul Rudd's a writer on these Ant-Man movies, and you can really tell it has a snap to it, especially with the humor and whatnot. Like, there are some jokes. Like, one of my favorite all-time jokes in the MCU is the fucking joke when in Ant-Man and the Wasp, when he gets stuck in this like medium-sized form and fucking what, a juice box and some screen cheese? Like, I'm just bagging on him, man. Like, that joke killed me except in the movie theaters. Like, the Ant-Man movies consistently get a laugh out of me. They consistently show heart, and you love the characters, obviously. Not to mention, it's one of the most mature movies in the MCU. I mean, you really take a step back. The Ant-Man movies are technically about convicts getting back into the world and doing good. I mean, technically, because him and his crew are all ex-convicts, and that's really what it is. That's why they got the company ex-cons. It's literally convicts using all the bad things they did to do good. So, like, if you want to be technical, a father wanting to be in his daughter's life. Like, the Ant-Man movies have a lot more, are actually a lot more grounded than people really give them credit for when you really take a step back and look at the themes of those movies. But getting into this trailer, getting into the next movie, now, we all knew that this was going to be big. We all knew that Ant-Man Quantumania was going to be big. The moment they announced that Kang the Conqueror, Jonathan Majors, is going to be the villain of this movie, it kind of elevated the movie. Because, like, when we heard that they're making a third Ant-Man movie, we all kind of assumed it'd be more small on the smaller side. But no, they're going for the fences with this one. Which isn't a shocker. Marvel traditionally, particularly with their third films, if you've noticed, like, the third films are pretty go big or go home. Even with even Iron Man 3, which some people have mixed feelings about, Iron Man 3 is still, like, even though I would agree with those who say it's not as good as the original Iron Man, it's still, from a production standpoint, from a technology standpoint, from a CGI standpoint, and from a spectacle standpoint, it's much bigger than that original Iron Man. It's a much bigger movie. There's more Iron Man suits. It's a bigger movie than the original Iron Man movie. So, like, Marvel tends to want to go big for that third movie. It's because, like, it's like the capper of this trilogy of films, traditionally. So, them kind of aiming to make this, and the comparison I kept hearing, at least from some of the people who work at Marvel, the comparison I hear is Captain America Civil War. That's what they compare this movie to in terms of its scope and the effect it's going to have, which is not that hard to see when you have Kang the Conqueror in it. But in the trailer itself, we finally got some clues about the story, because there's still lingering things that don't get answered even in this trailer. Biggest being, what does Kang want Scott to steal? But the thing we do learn is that Kang and Scott, at least for a portion of this film, will be working together. Most likely, when Janet, Hank, Scott, and Cassie all get sucked into the quantum realm, they get separated. Like that's what we're assuming. They get separated. Somewhere along the way, Scott meets Kang. And Kang, for one reason or another, needs Scott to steal something. And Kang is offering Scott time. And what does he mean by time? Because I see some people confused on the internet. When Kang says he's offering Scott time, he means time with his daughter. It's easy to forget. Scott lost 5 years of his daughter's life. He lost 5 years of time with his daughter. And in that time period, she became a woman. She became a completely different person. Not a completely different person, but she became the person she's gonna be. And it's one of those things where when you see in the trailer her walking out of a jail cell that looks vaguely reminiscent to the same kind of jail cell that Scott found himself walking out of. And you see her walking out of a jail cell, and it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I wonder, and like I said, they don't really give too much away, but I find myself wondering is Scott blaming himself and blaming the time that he lost for why she is, let's say, disgruntled. Why she is the way she is, why she's disgruntled, why she's going out getting arrested and stuff. Does he blame himself not being there for that? The trauma of him not being there for that. And like, we all, and like, this is a very personal issue for Scott. So it's definitely going to be a very personal journey for Scott, because we all have thought about stuff like that. We've all thought to ourselves, if I could go back, I would do this differently. And we all thought to ourselves that our lives would be better if we could change this one small thing in our past. If I had done this differently, if I had chose these different numbers in the lottery, if I had just went left instead of right, maybe I wouldn't have, maybe I would have bumped into this girl. Like, all these different things go through your mind, especially on retrospect of like, if I had done this thing differently, things would be better. And I can't help but believe that the beginning of this movie is going to be about Scott having it, like Scott just being like, oh my God, if I had spent more time with my daughter, our relationship would be better, she would be better, and he's literally making a deal to get that time back. And that the movie is essentially going to be about Scott having to come to terms with, you got to stop looking back, man. You have to just accept what is. Accept your daughter for who she is. Accept your daughter for what she is, faults and all. You know, because regardless of how you feel, regardless of what you think, whatever, it doesn't matter. She is who she is. The things that happen, and everything in our lives shape us. And Scott's thinking if he can go back in time and get that time back, he can fix something that doesn't need to be fixed. And honestly, a lot of people think that last line at the end of the trailer when he says, I don't need to win, we just both need to lose to Kang, people think he's going to sacrifice himself. That's not how I took that line. How I took that line at the end of the trailer was that Scott is that he's losing in the sense that he's giving up on his perfect idea of their relationship, of his perfect daughter in his brain, of winning the time, of getting the time and going back and fixing everything. He's giving up on that. He's losing that opportunity to do that. That's what I took it as what he's here to do. He's losing out on that, and that Kang is gonna lose, where I'm gonna lose. So we're both gonna lose. Like, I have to let it go. And that's like, I have to let go of the past and just move forward with the future and just love the people who are here and stop looking back. Like, that's how I took it. A lot of people think Ant-Man's gonna die in this movie because of the vibe of it. And like, I wouldn't be shocked. Like, if it happened, it'd be shocking and it'd be a huge deal. I don't think they will. Paul Rudd seems like he's really gamed, and Paul Rudd, like a couple other actors, they're not doing anything that's locking them down. You know what I mean? Like, guys like Chris Hemsworth and Mark Ruffalo and Paul Rudd, like, they're not like doing a ton of other things. Like, none of those guys have like some like massive show deal or something going on, or like they're working on like 15 movies a year. Most of those guys work on a couple movies a year. Maybe they'll pop up on a show, work on a show or two, but none of those guys are like so strapped and tied down to other major franchises or anything like that. So like, and to be honest, like guys like Mark Ruffalo and even, you know, and Chris, like, well, maybe less Chris Hemsworth, he's kind of on the rocks these days. But guys like Mark Ruffalo and Paul Rudd just seem like they love being in the MCU. They adore being in the MCU. They adore the fun of being in the MCU. So I wouldn't want to, if I was Marvel from a business standpoint, I would never want to lose someone as likable and as reliable and as someone who's a huge, you know, I'm not supposed to say patriot, someone who really pushes Marvel. I wouldn't want to lose someone like him. I wouldn't, especially if he doesn't want to leave. So I'd be hesitant to kill Ant-Man off of a business standpoint, but from the film standpoint, if he dies, it would not be shocking. But this trailer looked great. The CGI looked great, man. It really does. And Marvel's always been on a weird CGI feel, but I thought the CGI in Black Panther Wakanda Forever was really good. The CGI in Eternals was really good. And the CGI here looks fantastic. And, you know, we're all coming off of just seeing Avatar, so, you know, we're looking at CGI really hard right now since Avatar CGI was fantastic. But the CGI looked dope. Looked dope. I'm excited for this. Kang looked great. Oh my god, they had MODOK in it. Like, what the fuck? MODOK? I never thought they'd do MODOK. I never thought they would ever do MODOK. I am shocked. Anyways, I love the trailer. Had a great time with it. Can't wait. Movie comes out February like 11th or some shit like that. Very soon. Can't wait. Anyways, thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.